Hello, welcome to the Brooklyn Knitfolk podcast. I just scared the shit out of my cats. My name is Jaclyn. This is episode number 56. And now they're doing laps around the apartment. Great, okay, anyway.
Let's party.
Podcast. My name is Jaclyn. This is episode number 56. You can find me on Instagram and Ravelry as at Jaclyn Salem. And if you're into like all things New York or Brooklyn, I post tons of pictures about life in Brooklyn on Instagram. So some of you find that interesting. Thank you so much for joining me today. I do apologize. It's been a little bit since I've been able to record, but honestly, I don't know where my knitting mojo has been. It's been this way for a little while now. I just haven't been in the mood to knit. And part of that is because I just started a new job, which is really, really exciting. I did just take a new job with the publisher Houghton Mifflin Harcourt, and I'm really excited about it. It's been a really good transition. The culture fit has been amazing. I love my new coworkers, and of course I miss lots of people at my old job, but I am really excited to work in the book industry again. For those of you who don't know, I did work in bookstores all through college and for most of high school as well. So I really, really, really love being back in this environment again. I'm really excited. So I'm a senior designer for them. And yeah, so lots of you have been asking about the job. Those are basically the details. If you have any other questions, feel free to leave them down below. I'll answer them if I can. But yeah, I'm loving it. So part of it has been the job transition. And then the other part, I just don't really know. I just haven't been in the mood to knit really. So I'm hoping with me going to Rhinebeck that will kind of spur me on into wanting to knit again, just being around lots of knitters. I'm so excited to go to Rhinebeck. If you're going and you see me there, please say hi. I would love to give you a hug and say hello. This is like why I love, you know, going to these festivals, is like meeting you guys in person, and of course shopping for all of the yarny stuff that I can get. But I really don't have that much intention on buying that much because I just haven't been knitting that much. So lately I've been doing kind of a philosophy of buy it right before I start the project. That way I know it's not just going to sit around in my apartment gathering dust and taking up space. So yeah, I really am excited about Rhinebeck though. I can't wait to go. The fall weather has been amazing. At least it was this weekend, so it's perfect for wearing sweaters. There's absolutely no way I'm going to finish the weekender sweater that I started a few episodes ago. It's a cast on that I started in hopes of finishing it before Rhinebeck, but I didn't even knit one single stitch in the sweater this week. Like I said, I don't really know what's going on. It's just so, I don't know. I'm gonna try not to stress about it. Like, my brain is occupied with knitting. I love looking at knitting and I think about knitting when I'm at work and I want to go home and knit, but then when I actually get home, I don't want to. I don't know. I can't explain it, but I do always take a sock project with me on the subway, and if I feel like knitting on it, then I do. And normally I would have finished these long before now, but like I said, just haven't really been knitting a whole lot. And they're this kind of cozy sock design that I made up. So this is how far I am on the second sock. So I have like a lot of the foot to go and the toe, of course, but this pattern is almost done. Several of you did request for me to write it so you can knit it, and I think you're really gonna love it. It's going to be so cozy. Like, there's a lot of stretch in it, so it's just kind of, yeah, it's perfect for solids, semi-solids, those like rustic natural yarns. It's a fingering weight yarn, and it is John Arbin Textiles Harvest Hues in the shade Russet. And it's this really gorgeous golden brown. It has like tweedy bits in it, but they're not like super present. It's like woven in as part of the yarn, but there's also like some green and red in it as well when you get up close, but from far away almost is like a darker version of the sweater I'm wearing. It's like a golden color. Russet really is perfect. It's just so beautiful. I love this color. So yeah, but because of the stitch pattern that I've made up for it, it's really quite squishy and cozy. It's gonna be perfect boot socks. And I love the back of it almost, probably, honestly, almost more than I like the design on the front. I said last episode that it's broken rib, but it's not. I don't know why I got that in my head. It's not. I don't really know how to describe it. I mean, it is like a rib, but it alternates. It is broken in parts of the rib, but not all of it. It's kind of got this braided effect to it, but it's just, the whole thing is only knits and purls, which is why I think it really requires a very subtle yarn. So like I said, either something solid, semi-solid tonal, or like very light speckling, because I don't think this could handle variegated yarns and you wouldn't really see the pattern as well. I did really kind of have an internal debate on whether or not I wanted to do a contrast heel and toe. I'll show you the full one. But I ended up not doing that and just sticking with the full one color sock. And I just know these are gonna be like my favorite socks this winter and fall too. It's just so cozy. I knit an extra long cuff on it in this 1x1 rib on the front, and then the back has the same texture all the way along the back of the leg because it's still really stretchy. See, isn't that so pretty? I just love this. I don't know what it is about this, but I just love it. All knits and purls. Love it. So yeah, so that's really the only knitting project I've been working on, and it's been how many weeks since I've talked to you last? Like 3 weeks, probably even a month, probably by the time I put this episode up, and that's like really all I've knit on, and I'd started this last time too, and I still haven't finished it yet. Or maybe I had like just cast it on, I don't know. But yeah, so I don't know. Hoping the knitting mojo returns. I'm gonna try not to stress about it too much, but I like knitting because it's not as active a craft as sewing is. Like I can sit on my couch and watch movies or Netflix and knit at the same time, where it's a little bit more difficult to do that with sewing because you have to like actively be paying attention. Hi Mika. This is Mika. She's one of the 2 cats that I have. I have 2 black tuxedo cats in case you didn't know. And she's my baby. She's the snuggler, but she hates everyone else, basically. It kind of sucks. See, she's like already settling into my lap. She's so sweet to me, but just doesn't like other people. Okay, so some sewing. I do have lots of sewing to show you. So for whatever reason, whenever I kind of stopped wanting to knit is when I really ramped up my sewing, kind of like late summer. And it's almost like I switched crafts, but I still miss knitting. I want to knit, but I've been sewing quite a bit. So the first thing I want to show you, you guys have seen this plenty of times, but I just want to show it because I want to talk about how much I love this dress that I made. I like can't get over it. It's a hacked version of McCall's M6955, and I say hacked because I redid the neckline into this square neckline. And this fabric is a gorgeous, like very drapey twill. Sorry, it's wrinkled because I wore it yesterday. It's very drapey twill, so I think it's got some rayon in it, which makes it so drapey because it's not like other twills that I've had. And I, of course, love this color. If you can't tell, green is like my favorite color. And it's a crisscross back, which is also not in the pattern. I'm not doing a very good job of showing you that it's a crisscross back because I'm all twisted in it. Whatever, you'll just have to believe me. It's a crisscross back dress. And I wear this, it's like one of those things I automatically reach for. Full circle skirt. Automatically reach for it as soon as it's clean. I need to make another one of these. So I don't know, like I'm just showing it because I wanted to talk about that, like how much I love this pattern and would recommend it. It's just so comfortable. The weight of the fabric is perfect. I love the solid. I can't even decide what color I want to make a second one in, or if I wanted to do a print. I don't know. I'm just more of a classics, like solid stripes, and I like florals. So something like that. But I just love this dress so much, and I lined it in a different fabric than this part because I wanted to have enough of this green fabric left over to make something else, because there should be enough to make something. So I just kind of lined it in this very lightweight cotton, which is just so comfortable against my skin and breathable. It's just like, I love it so much. And the thing too is like, it's not perfect. The seams don't line up on the side, but you know what, like who cares? Who cares? I just love it so much. But anyway, I wore this yesterday to go apple picking in upstate New York with with my new coworkers, and I just like wore it in my Irving socks. It's a sock design that I put out last year around this time. And yeah, I just like love that dress so much. I think the next one I make, I'll probably add pockets, but it has to be like really deep pockets, I think, for it to work. I normally don't put pockets in dresses. I know it's kind of blasphemous to say that. Like, I love a good pocket, but most of the time in ready-to-wear dresses, the pockets are so shallow that you can't really put anything in them, or the dress material is so thin in the ready-to-wear that you can see anything that's in the pockets because it's like bulky. So I can't like put my phone in it or even my keys because you can like see that there's like stuff in the pockets. So normally I don't like it. Jafar, he's making a nest in my sewing projects over here. Come on, move it. Move it. The next project I want to show you, a work in progress. Sorry, Mika, you're gonna have to get down for this one. Okay. So you may recall, if those of you who watched my Vlogmas last December, I made 4 quilts in like a month and a half for my mom, my dad, and my sister, and then one for Julie, Sweet Sparrow Yarns. I could not look at another quilt for like months, literally until now when I started this one. I did not want to look at a quilt. It was just so much madness to finish those projects in that short amount of time. And I don't regret a thing because they all love them and send me pictures of them using them all the time. So I'm really glad that I made them. But it just took me a very long time to be able to look at a quilt project without wanting to barf. So you may recall a certain Ron Weasley blanket that I wanted to make for OG watchers, and basically there's a knitted blanket that Ron Weasley from Harry Potter has in the movies, and it's this pattern that is actually on Ravelry. I wanted to make a quilt version of it, so I kind of assigned each square a letter and a number combination and had people sign up to send me squares. And I'm about a little over, like around 65% of the squares people have sent me, so it's a really decent size, but I decided to go ahead and just put it together, not following the order of the pattern exactly, just because I really wanted to like get it put together and have it stop sitting with all these pieces everywhere. So here's the blanket so far. If you've sent me a square, it is in this blanket. And I haven't finished it yet because if anybody else wants to participate, go to my Ravelry group. You can sign up for a square, although I'm really not even that particular about it being like part of the pattern anymore since it's not even following the exact layout. If you want to sign up for a square that's not taken, feel free, but otherwise you can even just send me a 10 by 10 square of fabric. It can be pieced or not pieced, like this one's pieced right here, but most of them are just like a 10-inch by 10-inch straight up cut of fabric, and that's totally fine with me too. So if you want to participate and send me a square, so I have this amazing keepsake from the Brooklyn Knitfolk community, I would love that. So here's kind of what it looks like so far. Oh, I love this so much. This one right here for Brooklyn Knitfolk, obviously, and also stands for, it's the shortening for Brooklyn too, which is kind of cool. But yeah. Ooh. It's so big. It's such a nice size. It's gonna be a really snuggly quilt once it's finished. I love how it's turning out, how scrappy it is. So I did finally put that together. I'm really excited about it. I'll try to insert a picture of the full thing so that you can kind of see what it looks like. I posted a picture on my Instagram of it, and Jafar is playing in it, which is funny, but so many amazing squares. So that's another sewing work in progress. And then the last thing I want to show you, the cats are determined to sit on my coat. The last thing I want to show you is my finished Oslo coat. So I'm mostly happy with it. I say it's finished, but really there are some things I need to do to kind of fix it. So I'll start with the fabrics. The fabrics I got from H&M Fabrics in the Garment District, not to be confused with H&M, the ready-to-wear fashion store. This is a cashmere wool, this camel color. And then in the interior, it's this kind of aubergine purple color, and it's silk. And I love this so much. The fabrics are amazing. I love the materials. They are what pushed me to finish this coat because the instructions were not easy. So I'm gonna preface the next part of this by saying this was my first coat. I'm an intermediate clothing sewist. I have been sewing since I was 8 years old, but it was quilts up until like 2.5, 3 years ago, and that's when I started making clothes. So I am, on the newbie side when it comes to clothing sewing. That being said, I'm not gonna lie, I did not like the pattern. Didn't like it. Tessuti patterns, I listened to the, what's that podcast that everyone loves? Something, it's a really popular audio sewing podcast. I did listen to that, and I love them as people. Like, as people, I think they're great. There's no qualms about their business and how they run it and how hard they work and the lovely fabrics that they stock, and the patterns they design are gorgeous. But the design of the pattern itself and the instructions, in my opinion, left much to be desired. The pictures in particular, it just was so not clear in places, and I'm not an idiot. I read a lot as well, so I feel like my critical thinking and comprehension skills are pretty up there. And there were just so many parts of this pattern that I did not understand what it was telling me to do and where. And again, I know this was my first coat pattern, so I've already said that, got that out of the way, but there are just a lot of places where I think that the way it was written was really confusing. And then the photos were largely unhelpful. The sample that they made, they used black interfacing and a dark blue main fabric. So the pictures were basically useless in a lot of places unless I went back. I printed out the pattern and couldn't really see anything in the pictures in the printed pattern. So I had to go to my phone, turn the brightness up to 100%, like alter the photos so that I could see what was happening. And then even then, the photos were so zoomed in sometimes and not backed out enough to where I couldn't even tell where exactly they were talking about for the instructions. It was just not, the photos I think really needed some work. And it kind of makes me hesitate to buy more Tessuti patterns because I don't know if the rest of them are like that. Granted, the other patterns I'm really even interested in are tops, so I'm hoping that because it's not such a complicated garment or advanced garment like a coat, and a fully lined coat at that, that it wouldn't be as confusing or difficult because I know what it's telling me. But based on the instructions alone, not the difficulty of the sewing, like this is a more advanced project for sure. A coat is an advanced project. But on the instructions alone, I really can't say that I recommend their patterns. And I hate that. Like, I don't want to, like, I'm not complaining about them or anything. Like I said, I think their designs are really gorgeous. It just, that didn't jive with my brain. And so many people have made this coat, so it could just be me, it could be my inexperience, it could be a lot of factors that are me and nothing to do with the pattern. But it didn't jive with me. I enjoy the finished project. I like what came out of it. However, you can kind of see it on this sleeve right here and more on this one. The lining is too short, it's too small for the coat. And the lining pieces and the main pieces are cut separately. So I cut one too big or one too small. Most likely it was me, like I said, most likely that is me. But I've taken it to my friend Grace, who lives right behind me. She's a technical designer, and she suggested that with this pattern, I unpick the lining from the main at the seams, so at the bottom here, and then also, see if I can show the bottom, it's doing it a little bit right here as well, and then finish the lining separately, and then kind of tack it in places and just let the lining hang free on both the sleeves and on the bottom of the coats. A lot of coats in ready to wear, the linings are not fully like sewn to this main fabric right here, so that's not uncommon, especially with like a wider bodied coat in the bottom like this. So what I plan to do is unpick the lining from the main and then just kind of finish the lining separately, tack it in places likely at like the seams, like right here at the center back area, places where it kind of makes sense, and then just let the lining hang free. And a lot of coats are like that anyway, so that's not really too atypical. I am proud of the sewing that I did. I had to do a lot of hand basting in this. I had to do a lot of interfacing on the pieces, and so it's got a lot of structure. It looks really nice. The shawl collar is really pretty. Here, I'll put it on for you. I took some pictures of it, but I can't bring myself to post them because I really just don't like how, you can't really tell as much when it's on, but when it's like photographed, I really cannot stand how that lining is clearly too small for it. And it does call for a button closure, but I don't really want to do a closure on it. I just kind of want to let it be like an over garment thing and just like kind of hang and be really chic. So you can't really see a whole lot of it with me sitting like this. But the fit is really nice. I was in between the 10 and the 12, And the way they sell this pattern is in 3 sizes, the 3 smaller ones and then the 3 larger ones in 2 separate patterns. And of course I fall in the size that's on the biggest one in the smaller group and the smallest one in the larger group. So I emailed them and asked if they could make a recommendation about which one I should get, and they said definitely size down because the finished garment is really oversized. So it will fit much nicer if I do the smaller one, and that ended up working out. Just as a tip, if there are any like pattern designers out here watching this, if you do separate your sizes into a smaller group and a larger group, please put overlap in the middle sizes in each for exactly this reason. You just never know when people are gonna have to like hack for their body or grade between sizes for certain parts. Like this isn't as big of a deal because it's a coat, but if it was a dress, like more often than not I have to grade to a larger size in the hips and a smaller size on the bust because I'm kind of more pear shape. So it's really helpful to have an overlap of the middle sizes if you're separating out your sizing into 2 different camps. I don't know why you can't put all of them together because I like to make patterns more than once, and maybe I sew one for a friend or you know, who knows. But anyway, I digress. So I like the finished product. It's really, really soft, so comfortable. I think it's ultra chic. I'm really excited to wear this winter, and I sewed my own coat. Like how amazing is that? You know, if I do buy them again, I definitely would think twice about buying something that's a more advanced project like a coat. Like I just take on projects that I had sewn before, like tops. So if you're a beginner, just be wary or look at patternreview.com or look at other people who have made it and see what they think about it. So this is the Oslo coat. I don't know if I said that already, but this is the Oslo coat by Tessuti Fabrics, Tessuti Patterns, and I'm just in love with how it turned out. Once I finish that lining issue so that it's not doing this whole thing right there, then I'm sure I'll be really, really happy with it. I did get it professionally pressed as opposed to trying to press it myself, which turned out to be a great recommendation. Thank you to everybody who suggested that on my Instagram stories. If you don't already know, sometimes I sew patterns from start to finish on my Instagram stories and kind of story the entire process. You can see kind of how I select a size and why I grade in between sizes or hiccups that I run into. Just, you know, kind of like a realistic view of what it takes to sew a garment, because sometimes I feel like other people make it look like I just whipped this up in a day and then it was done and show the finished project. But I really like to see people's process and their insights into how they made it, because it helps me troubleshoot when I go wrong with patterns, which is why I love Grace's stories so much, because I learned so much. Oh, and this is my first ever successful pocket. I'm so excited about it. Like my first ever, I don't know what it was about pockets. I just like sewed them incorrectly and I would just follow the instructions and they never turned out right. I just like wasn't figuring it out. So I tried following the instructions from the Tessuti pattern, still wasn't getting it. So I took to YouTube, looked it up online and watched a video. It's not exactly how Tessuti tells you to do it for sure, but it's a pocket and it works, and it's a deep pocket. I can put stuff in there because it just wasn't possible. Most of the time I skipped pockets in other patterns, but pockets are not negotiable for a coat. You have to have pockets in a coat. So I looked up how to do it and I can't believe I didn't do that sooner, because now I have pockets. I am really, really proud of this. I am very excited with how it turned out. There's definitely room for improvement in my coat sewing, but overall, I think it really came together quite nicely. I want to kind of look into getting some like fancy labels for myself, some like black ones that just say like Jaclyn Salem or something like that on it. But that's my Oslo coat. And then a couple of acquisitions to show you, all sewing related. My cats are laying on them. So these fabrics I got in the garment district with the idea that I wanted to make them into professional wear clothes. So this one right here, this grid fabric. It's like a silk twill. Really, really soft. I might make an Ogden cami out of it, or maybe just another professional top. I've been wearing like a lot of just like more professional tops with blazers and such over it at work. So that's one option for this. And then I also bought this really soft cotton, which is kind of, basically it's like what men's shirts are made out of. It's like that kind of feeling. So this one I'll turn into probably more of a blouse type of top. But yeah, I think this is really cute. I Am Patterns has this top called Joy, and somebody hacked the Joy top from I Am Patterns into a short sleeve version of it, and it's so cute. So I think I might make that with this fabric. I was really into the grid thing on this shopping trip. And then Grace we were going through her stash, as we sometimes do, her amazing fabric stash. And I saw this and I was like, oh, I love it so much. It's a chambray. And she was like, you know what? I have so much chambray. If you like this one, you can have it. And so I just like took it before she could change her mind. So this one doesn't have a fabric plan just yet, but I'm sure I'll find something for it. It's like a darker blue, a bit nebby. This would probably make a great jacket, honestly. I do love it though. It's really nice. Thank you, Grace. And then, last but not least, I acquired a vintage sewing pattern. So this is from 1970s, somewhere around there. Let me see if I can find it. Where is it? Yeah, 1974. Vintage McCall's pattern. It's out of print. I found this one on Etsy. It's McCall's 4276. And it's another coat pattern, but I have been wanting to make, there's a Givenchy coat that I have been obsessed with since the moment I saw it on Pinterest years ago. We're probably talking like 5 to 10 years ago at this point, easily. And it's white hooded cape, and it's gorgeous. I love it. Obviously, I'm never gonna be able to afford a Givenchy coat. That's insane, but I can make one. So I found this pattern, and I love, it is sort of like a cape, sort of jacket. I'm gonna make this a mixture between these two views. Like this one is too long, but this one's a little too short. I kind of want to make it like knee length, or I guess it's at her knees here, but kind of like T length, I guess, like right there, but not full length, in a white wool. If I get a good deal in cashmere, maybe I will. I may not spend that much money on this, although I got this for a steal because they were having a closing sale, which I later found out they're not actually closing, they just want to get rid of a bunch of fabric so they can get new stock in. So if I get a really good deal on white cashmere, then I'll get it. If not, I'm not super concerned with getting a super fancy wool because it is white and I do live in New York City. It's very dirty here. It's like in all likelihood gonna get dirty pretty quickly because it's white. So I'm not gonna be married to the fabric as long as it's not itchy or scratchy. It does come with an option to line this or not. I'm not sure if I will, just because it's kind of like a cape poncho and you'll see the inside of it. So I'm thinking I would like to have it look white on the inside, and if I don't, oh, the possibilities for linings, I don't know, maybe navy or forest green or a camel color, so go with all neutrals, I don't know, but that's sort of what I'm thinking, but definitely white for the outside one. And if you've been watching for a while, I know I've mentioned this coat on here before. I bought a different pattern, but the more I looked at it, the more I just didn't like it, and this one more suits what I have in mind for it. So again, that is McCall's 4276. It's the medium size, and it was printed in 1974. So if you buy it, it is out of print. You'd have to buy it from eBay or Etsy or some other used version. And that's really it for the creative content. There's a couple other things I want to mention, both of them books, just because I've been really excited about them lately. I only have one of them here with me, my other one's in my room, so I'll just put in like a picture of the other one. But the first one is this cookbook. I have been attempting to just like lose a little bit of weight, nothing too crazy, but I was at the top of the weight for my height category and just decided I wanted to try to get back into the middle of the range to be more comfortable in my clothes again because they were just getting a little bit tight. And so far I've lost a little over 15 pounds, and most of it I attribute to meal prepping, as you've seen probably in my Instagram stories, with Skinny Taste recipes. I really cannot recommend Skinny Taste recipes highly enough. It's like all of our favorite foods that we love to eat, but like the skinified version of it, it tastes exactly the same. They're all so good. And so I've been checking them out from the library. She has tons of recipes online too, so you don't even, for free, so you don't even have to buy the cookbook. But I did check this one out from my library, and I had a digital version of it, and I was bookmarking almost every single recipe, so I decided, you know, what the heck, I'll just go ahead and buy the cookbook. So I went to Strand, which is a huge bookstore, it's amazing, in New York City, and bought the Skinny Taste Fast and Slow cookbook. And it's called Fast and Slow because some of the recipes are really fast, like 30 minutes or less, and then the other half are made with a slow cooker. I don't have a slow cooker, but I can adapt a lot of the slow cooker ones to be on my stovetop if I wanted to. So I love this cookbook. Everything in here was delicious. But like I said, I've been cooking recipes from online and from her other cookbooks that I've checked out from the library, and I just really cannot recommend this enough. It's also very simple if you are, I don't know about vegan, but if you're vegetarian, you could just substitute a lot of the meat in here with like tofu or tempeh or, you know, something like that, or vegetable stock instead of chicken stock. So it's very easy to substitute for vegetarian recipes. I haven't really analyzed it much from a vegan perspective, so I can't really say. She's also extremely gluten-free friendly in here. So if you have a gluten intolerance, then this would definitely also be a great line of recipes to check out. Not just this cookbook, but all of her recipes. So that's, again, Skinny Taste. Her recipes are amazing, and I've been meal prepping every week, every single meal, and have lost a little over 15 pounds so far. So I'm really, really loving this. And then the other one, which I don't have in here with me, it's in my room, is the latest Haruki Murakami book. If you don't know, he is my all-time favorite author. I read everything that he's written, and he just released a new book called Killing Commentador. I'm not sure if that's how you're supposed to pronounce that word, Commentadore, I don't know, but it is a classical music reference for those of you who caught on to that. I didn't know that when I first started reading it until later on. And it's really good. It's a beast of a novel though. It's a little over 700 pages, but I've just been so addicted to it. I'm like 35, say about a little over a third finished with it already, and it's just so good. It's like a balm for me right now. B-A-L-M, balm, not bomb. It's exactly what I needed to read right now, both in terms of like the subject matter, and the protagonist is a painter, and while I am not a painter, it does describe really beautiful scenes of creating and making in general that just really speak to me, and like I very much get, and you guys probably will too. It's just, I love those scenes. And then of course he's a magical realism author, so I love that aspect of it as well. We're just starting to kind of get into those aspects of the novel, and it's just, yeah, I don't want to give away too much, and I'm not really by saying anything that I am, but it's just exactly what I needed to read right now. A Murakami book in general, but this one in particular I feel is very, very much relevant to my life. So I can definitely, even though I'm only like a third of the way through it, like 2 thumbs up, recommend this book right now. But I don't know, again, if it's just because it's so personal to me and my life or what, but I'm just like very much, yeah, loving that. So that's Killing Commentador by Haruki Murakami, was just released on October 9th. And that is it for the podcast today, you guys. I hope you enjoyed the episode. If you do like it, please give me a thumbs up, subscribe if you want to see more videos, and of course you can always follow me on Instagram for all of my pictures of creative content and New York City content. And yeah, I will see you in the next episode. Take care, and I hope to see you at Rhinebeck. If you're at Rhinebeck, please say hello. Bye.